Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Podcast episode number 42. I don't need to ask who wears 42 on this occasion because we know fine well the captain, Callum McGregor. So welcome along. I'm joined on my left hand side by Ryan McGinley. Ryan, how you doing?
Doing very good. It was a good international break. We get plenty of Ange content over the past couple of weeks, which was good as well, but I'm glad that we're back and we've got a semi-final to look forward to.
Yep, and Kieran Auld over on the far side of the table as well. You're looking happy to be here as always.
I was waiting for an insult there.
I was thinking about saying you look tired or something, but that was just
fucking shattered. I
think we all are. That's you've got the full fat coke out ready for the sugar.
Always do.
Always do. I mean, did you see the comments you were getting on that video the other day?
I did, but people were really wrong in what they were saying. It's actually a 1.75 litre, not a 2 litre. I'm not that bad. You know, I keep that 0.25 to myself.
No kicking the arse off it, fuck's sake.
No, I drank most of it. Like, it was hardly anything left.
Fucking gulped it down, son. Gulped it down. Yeah, so we wanted to start the podcast with the kind of tribute to Bertie Auld. Of course, it's been a few days now from the news coming out that Bertie sadly passed away. An absolute Celtic legend, a hero, and nothing less. A guy who, as I've already said, embodies everything about Celtic Football Club, I think. And it was tragic to hear the news. I was devastated, to be quite honest, when it came out, and I thought it was only right that we started off the Sellik the Thunder this week talking a little bit about Bertie, some of the best stories we've seen, but just generally about the guy himself. I was considering getting my dad on. I was going to phone him up and ask for some memories about Bertie, but it's 10:30 at night, close to, well, it is 10:30 actually on the button, and he'll be in his slippers ready for bed, so I don't want to disturb him.
He'll have very big nightcaps on, holding a candle.
Exactly. Getting his way up the stair with a wee hat with a bit at the top. But Bertie is just an absolute legend, and God bless him, and thoughts and prayers with the family, but just a hero, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Celtic, as people have been calling him over the past couple of days or so. He's an absolute legend. Everybody's got something good to say about Bertie Auld. That's the thing that you've realised over the past couple of days. It's absolutely gutting that he's away. Obviously, we knew he was unwell for quite some time, so at least he's out of pain, but at the same time it's a really big loss for Celtic. He encapsulated Celtic for so long. Everybody absolutely adored him. I remember recently, or a couple of years ago, his celebrations at HAMPDEN when he was on top of the seats, and that was just him. It's a really big loss for Celtic and for Scottish football in general.
Yep, he's a legend on all fronts, you know, everything. A sort of pioneer of the game as well for what he'd done, and he obviously had the time down south as well at places like Birmingham. And you know, Kieran, I don't know, you have no relation, of course. People have asked in the past, you're not related to Bertie Auld, but it's one of those ones when a Celtic legend does pass, it feels like you've lost someone close to you. It feels like you've lost a kind of family member in a way.
I know, as we said, it was just gutting to hear when you see the news come through. I mean, as Ryan said, we knew for a while he was battling dementia, I think it was, and it just, obviously he was 83 years of age, but I know it just sort of encapsulated everything about the club, and as you said, Mr. Celtic. I don't think there's any other way to put it, but in terms of like stories and that, the favourite one, it's like him telling the story about the referee. Is that Mr. Watton?
Well, I think you're a bastard. That's an absolute belt, and it's just, there was so many things. He always seemed happy, and I was listening, and shout out to the guys over at Gig Pod, Stevie and Reedso, do a fantastic job, and they re-released their interview with Bertie Auld a couple of years ago. I think it was on the back of the 50th anniversary of the Lions, and I stuck it on yesterday, listened to the whole thing. It was a brilliant show from start to finish. To kind of pay their tributes, talk about him, and then they play the interview. But in the interview, it was like they were talking to Bertie about people coming and asking for photos and speaking to him and all the rest of it, and Bertie turns around and he says, look, I'm not angry. I'm not annoyed that people come and ask me. I'd be annoyed that you don't come and ask me for a photo. I'd be annoyed if you don't come and speak to me. I'd be asking you, why did you bother no come to speak to me? Why did you no bother come to speak to me? And it just says so much, because those days are gone. You don't get characters like that anymore. You know, you bump into so many people that might have a bit of a reputation, and some of them don't even want to look at you. But Bertie had time for absolutely everybody, and it felt like I never got the chance. That's one thing that will annoy me, that I never got the chance to meet Bertie Auld. I really would have loved to speak to him or meet him. I just never one of those opportunities came up. But you know, everybody I felt like on Twitter had some sort of unique story or some unique encounter with Bertie Auld, and it just speaks volumes about the guy.
Yeah, absolutely massive character. Everybody had a story to tell about him. I'm gutted as well because I never got to meet him, but my dad's met him a couple of times, or my dad did meet him a couple of times, so did my papa, and he always recognised my dad, my papa, which was absolutely brilliant. And that's what he remembered people as well. It wasn't just all for show. He was being genuine with what he'd done with people. It's absolutely gutting, but like I said before, at least he's out of pain, because you don't want to see legends like that be in pain for so long. So it's a sad day, but at the same time, it was a sad day. But I felt like through the sadness and through the kind of devastation of it all, I smiled so much as I scrolled through social media, and I seen the photos and I seen the videos, and because he's a guy that makes you laugh, and a guy who knew how to make you smile. I remember, like, even as a player, you know, we never obviously got the chance. I wish we did get the chance to see Bertie Auld playing, all of those guys playing the Lisbon Lion team, but my dad's told me so many stories, and they make me smile as well. Just, I think I might be mistaken about the game. This is why I wish I could have got my dad on, because he could have told it much better detail. But I think it might have been the final of the Club World Cup against Racing, and I think one of the Racing players or something kicked the lumps out. I don't know who it would have been. It would have been one of the teammates anyway, and Bertie Auld just charged all the way up the pitch to find the guy and sat him on his arse apparently. And it's just, you know, it was mischievous on the park, to say the least, and you could see that kind of shine through him. And yeah, we're going to be paying tribute to him on Saturday. It's going to be emotional.
It will be emotional. I think that this is a guy that deserves so much, and you know, I hope that Celtic fans, as they will unite in a moment of celebration for Bertie. I see we're wearing the number 10 on the shorts as well, which is great, just like we did with McNeil and Chalmers a few years back. But it will be emotional at Hampden on Saturday, Kieran, won't it?
I mean, it's just, as we said, it's just saying goodbye to one of the great characters of Scottish football. And I mean, I'm quite gutted we won't be back for Germany in time to make the funeral. I think that's next Friday. It's at St Mary's Chapel, and then there'll be the procession will go up the Celtic way, and that the way it did with McNeil and Chalmers. So I'd imagine plenty of people will be flocking to Celtic Park to see that. I think they might even be putting the screen up and that, so people can watch the service. Well, that's hopefully as many Celtic fans as possible can make their way out to either St Mary's or Celtic Park for that. As Kieran said, we'll be in Germany, so it's a shame, but I think on behalf of everybody at the Celtic the Thunder, which includes us three at the table and everybody else who's ever took part in the show, Callum Craig, Cal McKenzie and whatnot, you know, thoughts and prayers with the family, friends of Bertie Auld, and God bless him, God keep him. But looking ahead to that game on Saturday, let's get to that, because it's a big one. Celtic return to Hampden Park. You could say technically for the first time in a couple of years, because it was the other season that we played there last season. But the fans are back, and I'm looking forward to it, Ryan.
Yeah, me too. I'm really, really buzzing for this one. Saturday night, sort of evening kick-off. It's going to be great. You can have a drink before it, which is going to be great. And I'm buzzing because it's Ange's...
Look at Kieran's face. Yes.
And I'm buzzing because it's Ange's first one at Hampden as well. Right. So it's got more of a... I'm not going to say more meaning, but it's got a different sort of meaning. You want him to go there and do well. And we've been in really good form recently, so I'm just hoping that we can go forward with that form that we had before the break and blow St Johnstone away, really. Yeah,
St Johnstone are a team who, of course, are off the back of great cup success, Kieran. They've done very well at Hampden last season. A different sort of animal. Now, you're into all you make sure that when it comes to ticketing and all the rest of it, you keep us in the right where we're going in places and that. We have how many? Is it about 80% or something of the stadium?
I don't know. I'd maybe go as far as to say maybe like 40,000 perhaps, because I'm guessing, because we've got like halfway up to round the Rangers end as well. Yep. So I can only imagine St Johnstone will have halfway behind the goal to the main stand. We'll have the tap stand or the rest of it. So it certainly will be a very good day.
Aye, it will be a good day.
5:15 kick-off.
I mean, we're going to be like back on the bus again, a few pints in the pub, heading up to the game. I'm buzzing, wee bottle of tonic on the bus as well. No, we're not hooligans, right? We're not hooligans. But no,
Self-entitled.
Self-entitled, aye. Kieran, the last time we were at Hampden, we were there to see us beat Rangers in the League Cup final, and I made a video today in regards to that and how different things are. 2 years ago now, that game, just under 2 years ago. Only 3 players in the starting 11 that day remain at the club. If you told me back then that the likes of Neil Lennon would be gone, we'd have an Australian manager in charge, Scott Brown would be at Aberdeen, and all these different things, I would laugh at you. This is a completely different Celtic at Hampden this time.
I mean, I feel like if you look at most squads 2 years apart, it's always really different, but it's especially the fact that it's the first time back at Hampden and just seeing the squad, like the difference in it is nuts when you look at it and who's actually left in the squad. Is it McGregor, Forrest and
Julian? And he's obviously...
Speaking on Julian quickly, Jai put a thing into the chat and it was like on his Instagram story.
I've seen that today, yeah.
And he's put up like the wee hingy emoji and like the wee hand. That and the wee hand. So people seem to think he might be in contention for Saturday, but then again, it was 2 emojis on his story.
To be fair, Ange a couple of weeks ago said that he was looking for an opportunity to play Julian in some game.
Do you think he would throw him in at Hampden the first opportunity when he? I mean, Stephen Welsh is touch and go with that injury.
He was in training.
I thought it was cleared up that he would be able to
play. So yeah, that's about. I don't see him starting Julian over Welsh though. I think that if he was given or even Beaton, I think he would maybe save Julian for the next league game or such. I feel like that'd be a better time to bring him back into the team. I mean, he's not played football for a full year almost, so
pretty much, yeah.
It was last December, wasn't it, against Dundee United?
Yeah, exactly, and that was when he smacked the post, wasn't it? Like I know that we've said that a couple of times about Ange, like, I don't think he'll throw him back, and he has. He's thrown players in and he's trusted them, so he could do that. I just feel like that this has been a different extent of an injury. I don't know, I just don't see him coming in. But no, let's talk about the game itself. Let's talk about that, because St Johnstone are a team who haven't had the greatest of seasons, but they are doing what they do, and that's try to stay in the division. They are, still a side that are going to be difficult to beat, right? And I think that if Celtic go into this game playing the way that they did, and that sort of period between the 2 international breaks, it should be a game that Celtic have the most control in. It's about taking chances on. It's about kind of supplying us with the same amount of attacks we've been getting.
You're just hoping we can get that same amount of possession we got in places like Easter Road against better opposition, you would say. I know St Johnstone done so well last season, but they've lost a lot of key players, and they've got Stevie Mays out injured as well, and I know he comes on as a sub most games, but he's still an option in the latter half of a game. But if we can get that sort of possession that we've been used to the past couple of weeks and months, I think we should be alright. I'm not too worried about the opposition, I'll be perfectly honest.
Kieran scrounging up the mouth.
We have been here before.
we have been here before, but the way we are playing, if we play our game, we'll win, in my opinion. Yeah,
I mean, it's one of those ones that, again, I feel like the stakes are raised a little bit when you get to a cup semi-final. St Johnstone are going to turn up and they're going to be a better team, and they're going to be a team that want to walk away with the result, and it kind of takes away that aspect of, if it was Celtic part of like we should be winning or it's embarrassing. I don't think it's to the same extent at Hampden, but you look at the circumstances around the game and where both clubs are, with the quality of both teams, with the fact we're going to have 40,000 fans there, and you must wait. Even you, Keir, as a pessimistic fan, must look at it and go, we should be winning the game.
We definitely should, as Ryan said. If we're at the top of our game, then it really shouldn't be up for much discussion. But at the same time, you don't know what's going to happen at Hampden. Looking back, but in previous years, we've got a very good record at Hampden.
I've still never seen us lose at Hampden, ever. Never.
Well,
you're showing your age there, man, because I have.
See, even like when I was younger,
did you not go to Ross County?
No, I did not. No, see, when I was younger, my dad, and I've been through this before with like Kieran, but me and my dad were on and off with games because of how he worked. So it was I never had the chance to work towards the criteria for like Hampden tickets and such. So my first ever game at Hampden was the Dembele winner. That was my first, and I've been at every single one since then. And we've won every single one since then. So I've never seen us lose at Hampden.
See, mine's is very mixed because over the past 5-6 years it's been brilliant, but before then obviously we get put out against St Mirren, we get Kilmarnock, Inverness as well, Ross County, and my first Celtic Rangers game was the one at Hampden, the Yelovich. The one that Yelovich hits the post and it slivers in the slowest way, and you know he's going to score for about 5 seconds before he does it.
That was extra time, wasn't it?
Yeah, because Vladimir Weiss takes a really quick free kick, and Celtic are sleeping completely. That was a Sickener that game.
Aye, see, I've never seen us lose there. Me and you, Caleb, been to Hampden every time together, apart from that one time you were sitting way over this bit yourself.
I mean, I've been to every game at Hampden since Rodgers got, and I was there plenty of games before as well. I definitely have seen us lose. I couldn't hang it after that meet. It would have been when I was younger, but I've been at all the ones same as you, by hook or by crook. But
that's a story there. He slivered his way into the, what game was it?
Treble final.
Treble final. Slivered his way in without a ticket.
For any authoritative figures watching, that is.
If Bernard Higgins was watching the podcast, fuck off. Anyway,
we'll be getting on to you soon.
We'll be coming on to you soon. You might want to skip on a wee bit further than me. No, but I'm looking forward to it for so many reasons. But I'm just looking forward to getting obviously the club football back, most importantly, and it's a good way to start, which is now a big run for Celtic. To kickstart us on this long run of games between now and January the 2nd, you want to start off strong and you want to book yourself in a cup final. Now, I was very lucky to have the chance to speak to our leader, Ange Postecoglou, earlier in the week, and my question to him was, how excited are you to manage at Hampden for the first time? And considering there is a chance for a cup final there, and Ange brought up the point that it was kind of not worried, but there was that thought deep down that league football, cup football, European football, that it might have got a little bit too much for some players, but we've handled it really well, and I think we have handled it really well. Now, I know the Europa League has been a difficult one, but we've got the two big results that mattered. We have the chance, a realistic chance at a cup final. I think that you look at it now from when Ange Postecoglou was appointed, it's been a really good opening 6 months for the manager.
I think we're ahead of schedule. That's what I've been saying a lot of times. We're ahead of schedule where I thought we were going to be. It didn't look too good a couple of months ago, obviously, when we were losing to Livingston. We lost to Rangers, obviously. It looked as if we had some ground to make up, but we're only a couple of games off the top, which is absolutely brilliant. I think we can close that gap over the next few months, and then you're looking at that January 2nd showdown. Hopefully we can play that game and break that sort of hoodoo against Rangers that we've had for the past 2 seasons, and get to the top of the league, hopefully. But this would be a good start to get us booked into a final, and then we've got that to look forward to, and whoever we meet in the final, we'll deal with that when it comes.
Any thoughts, Kieran?
I mean, I think the whole confidence boost that would come for getting into a final and potentially getting the first trophy available of the season, it would lay down quite a marker that it is going to be a proper challenge this season, and I know that the indications is that it's going to be that right now, but as I said, it's a long season. I think, as you said a couple of months ago, it wasn't looking too good, but you were still optimistic, but now you've actually got the results to back up that optimism, which is a nice thing to have, because at the start of the season many people had their doubts, us included, as to where this season was headed when the appointment was made. And obviously Ange just came out and spoke in the past week, I think it was to some Australian outlet, about, there was a big long interview and he was talking about how he likes getting to prove people wrong and that, and I mean, it's just good to hear when the manager doesn't crumble under that sort of pressure. But nah, I just can't stop. I'm just so excited for Saturday, man.
Are you gutted that and do you think he'll have a big impact in the game, or do you think we'll handle it okay? I'm gutted Starfelt won't be there personally, but Starfelt and Rogic both won't make it back in time for this game. How much you miss do you think that is?
Rogic at Hampden, he's so good at Hampden and Pittodrie, those are his two grounds. Obviously Celtic Park as well, but Hampden and Pittodrie, those are the games that he really does step up. He's came up trumps in numerous finals and semi-finals for us before. So it will be a miss. We are a better team when Rogic is on the pitch, and I can't believe I'm saying that this season, considering we watched them at certain points last season not really doing anything. But we'll miss him, and we'll miss Starfelt as well, although we did deal with him. We did deal with him not being in the team in the last game. Stephen Welsh had a good game, I thought.
We did concede 2 goals, right?
In fact, do you know, I've just remembered that game. He was so-so, wasn't he?
He was quite so-so. I didn't think Welsh was that great, to be honest. I know.
No, actually, can I just retract that? He wasn't that great against I've just remembered. So I'm talking at my arse. What time is it? 10 to 11
2 weeks ago as well. It's not exactly fresh in the mind, is it? But no,
get Julian back in.
Would you put him in over Welsh if it was? If it was?
Absolutely.
Yeah, would you?
He's been training for long enough.
What about you, Kieran?
I mean, he's got to get thrown in at some point, and I think a lot of the fans are very the jury's still out in Welsh, because sometimes he looks pretty convincing, other times his inexperience shows, I think. But I don't know, it's quite a big call to make, to try to get Julian back into the squad.
I'm just having a look at our next 3 games. So we get St Johnstone at Hampden, Leverkusen away, and at home to Aberdeen.
Madness we're going to be all three of those,
I'm just thinking what big physical strikers are going to be bullying Julian in their games.
I know, I'm trying to think who.
I think out of those,
Chris Kane for St Johnstone, Patrick Schick. Oh, Christ.
Yeah, cunt, man.
But
big Ramirez as well for
yeah.
Aberdeen. I think out of those 3 games, you play Julian against St Johnstone to get him back in, and then if he does well, he can play in the other ones.
Fair enough. It's not a bad view to take on it. So let's go. Since this is kind of my match preview video as well as the podcast, because I'm not going to upload twice in the one day when this is up. But let's go through what we would do for our starting 11s then. We're all fairly confident, aren't we? For start, I'm just buzzing to be back. I'm looking forward to singing the Celtic song. I'm looking forward to just being. I mean, I hate Hampden. It's a fucking dump.
But the day out to Hampden's a good.
It's always a good day out. It annoys me. Like Buick loves Hampden, and I'm like, you clearly don't get Hampden enough. But he loves Hampden. He always goes, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with Hampden." Like, there's so much wrong with Hampden. It's a fucking dump. I hate it. It's honestly one of my least favourite stadiums I've ever been in.
It got a lot worse after we had that one semi-final at Murrayfield.
Yeah,
that Murrayfield.
But David's argument's always like, oh, but you've never been in it with like 50,000 Scotland fans. I'm like, I know, but even if it's good with 50, it'd be better if it was a better stadium. Like,
see, that's thing. See, even with Murrayfield, but with Murrayfield, you're still kind of far away from the pitch. But at the same time, I don't know. I just like the fact that obviously for us to go to Hampden, it's 20 minutes away, so it doesn't feel like as much a day out. But whereas if you're going to Murrayfield, you're on the train, you're on the bus through or whatever. That would be. I fucking love that, man.
I love that.
I love any.
That Murrayfield day was messy, man. I loved it.
Oh Christ!
Absolutely.
We got the train for Garrahill to Edinburgh,
Haymarket or
and
whatever.
then we went to
we went to some mad
the
pub.
Murrayfield Sports Bar or something it was called.
I don't remember the name of the pub.
I'm sure it was the Murrayfield
Stormy
Sports
Keitel
Bar.
and the
Oh yes, of course it was a right rugby pub. It was.
As well.
And then that was when we got our wee mac and cheese with the onions on the top as well.
Banging,
absolutely. I mean, very Tory, but banging.
Very, very rugby of us, but
how rugby of you. So let's go through our team. In goals, it's got to be Joe, of course.
Obviously,
Big Joe. Back 4. Tony Ralston had got in the Scotland.
He's got to play.
Do you know one thing we never touched on is everybody came back okay.
Yep.
Like, you know, somehow, some way, God was watching over and he made sure that everybody came back fine.
Did you hear Andrew's response in the press conference?
What is it he said again?
He says it's so stressful watching the international break because of all the players. They're obviously him being worried about them picking up an injury.
Do you remember like a couple of months ago, and I think it might have been in relation to another international break, he said something like, I say a prayer.
He lights a candle.
He lights a candle. There was people on Twitter getting it like, oh, he's obviously pandering to a section of the support. Like, do me a wind your fucking neck in, man.
Sad bastards.
That's like me going on about, Rangers are throwing out that colour orange because they've got a Dutch manager
I was
now.
going to make that point too. You took that right off of me, mate.
That's terrible. They're throwing out that colour for marketing. So back 4, Ryan. I'll let you give a back 4 and we'll see if me and Kieran agree.
So Ralston at right back, Juranovic left back, Julian and Carter Vickers.
So you're going Julian and Carter Vickers. Now,
was that, are you doing realistic, King? Is this what you
what
think?
you want,
or
what
who
you
you want?
Maybe both, because I can see him throwing Julian back in, because he says he's been in training for a while.
I think I would agree with you just if we heard a little bit more, especially the day at the press conference, because I don't know if 2 emojis is going to give me the go ahead for it.
I think I need a bit more than that.
3 emojis.
Dare I say 4?
Dare I say 4? I would say that Julian and Welsh is Julian and Carter Vickers is what I would desire. However, I think it will be Welsh and Carter Vickers.
I think I'd agree with you.
Would you agree with me?
Either or.
I wouldn't really mind, to be honest. Like, Julian has to get thrown back in at some point, and the point you made as well, if he plays alright in this, he could be in contention for the next 2, because if you wait and say, right, we're going to wait until Aberdeen, that's him even an option for the first 2 games.
Yep.
So how does that work?
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
I'm just looking at the fixtures still. Look at these big games coming up. We get Aberdeen, Hearts, Dundee United, Betis. I want Julian in all 4 of those games, I'll be honest.
Even if Starfelt's back.
Ooh.
Starfelt and Julian.
Oh, what about big cut? What's he done now? See, it's a good dilemma
This
to
is
have,
good
though, isn't
because
it?
last season we had. Oh my god!
Do we bring Duffy back in?
Probably would now, to be honest.
Aye,
He's playing.
Cruyff.
See, I just got a mad like PTSD flashback here to Duffy and Julian running into each other in the Scottish Cup
See,
final
for
last
me,
year.
the player that gives me the most PTSD is Laxalt for some reason. I don't know why. His face. Every time I see his face, I'm like.
Eddie,
No,
when
when I think about Lax, I don't see his face. I see his bit moji, but the mad apple thing.
The 3D apple.
It's like mind the guy accidentally like emailed the guy that's put the thing up about him saying Eddie Howe, and then like he sent him the wee thing back like that.
Eddie Howe, tomorrow. I remember we were all on our fucking toes that night. Oh my fuck,
Guy barely speaks English, sitting playing Fortnite, and he's just like, aye, tomorrow.
tomorrow.
What's that boy?
Last year was truly something of a simulation, man. It was the fucking real.
It was a fever dream.
It was just not real.
It was just not right at all. It just wasn't right.
Amazon really missed a trick with not doing a documentary last season.
That would have been the most. I think it would be the most interesting yet.
I don't know if I could bear to watch something like that. Do you reckon if there was a documentary about last season like that behind the scenes, do you think you'd want to watch it? Because I think I'd just be sitting there absolutely seething, man.
I think I would.
Probably would
There's
watch
some
it,
things I would want to see. To be fair, like I'd want to see like Lennon's like moments after Lennon done the whole that, and I want to see like him walking back and going, "What the fuck have I just done?"
I'd love to see the Ferencváros after the Ferencváros.
Aye.
Between him going back into the dressing room and then doing that interview.
This is a cracking idea for a full podcast, like talking about what it would have been good to see in the documentary and what would they be.
I don't think I want to dedicate a full podcast to last season, to be honest, man. I'd forget about it.
Do you remember? Obviously, do you remember? Of course, you remember. I would love to see, and I know this is after he was sacked, but I'd love to see the build up to the get off me moment, as if that was like documented. Like, imagine if you're like intense music.
Back in the US office where Michael Scott loses his job and he just keeps on coming back.
Keeps walking in, get off me. So Kieran, we got off topic here.
I
Kieran,
don't even know where we were.
You're middle three, mate. Who you playing in the middle?
We got this for our preferred starting 11.
I love this podcast.
I think it'll be Beaton, McGregor, and Turnbull.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be any variation on that.
Yeah, I think that'll be the
agree
three.
with that.
I agree with that three.
Because normally I'm no Beaton's biggest fan, but the point I've always made about Beaton is I didn't want him like re-signed as like a squad player, like the contract extension, purely for the fact that when he was a squad player he was getting used as a centre half, and he's not a centre half. I don't like seeing him at centre half. Whereas he played out his skin at Dundee. I mean, I know we can think it's Dundee, but I don't know. Everybody was hitting it with the Bethlehem Busquets patter, which I'm a fan of.
I'm a fan of that.
He was good against Ferencváros as well. A shaky first 20-25 minutes, but he really eased himself into the game, and by the end he was playing with his slippers on completely. He's probably been done out of a really, really good career at Celtic because he was playing at centre half for the past 5-6 years because he's a competent defensive midfielder in my opinion.
Yep, I think that.
He was playing as a centre mid back at the start of Rodgers because he played the 5-1 game. I mind that.
That's right, so he did. It would be the different. We talked about the difference in the team 2 years ago. Think about the team that played that day. Like the difference from then.
Doris de Vries
and goals. Jesus,
what a weird experiment that was, man.
for all 5 games it lasted. And the front three picks itself. I mean, we know what the front three is.
Yep.
Jota, Kyogo, Abada. You're saying
judging by the press conference, Ange sounded as if he was going to play Forest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was bigging up Forest, to be fair.
He says that Forest's in the best shape since he came in, so we'll see what happens. But I don't really want to see Abada dropped at all. I want to see that front three. I want to see that grow.
Yes, I would agree. I took a delay there as I was about to agree. But
were you an internet explorer with that?
It was like my head just had a firewall built for a second, and I just kind of bring in it. And then I think that would be. So I think that we're going for what Joe Hart, Ralston, Carter Vickers, Welsh, Juranovic. Beaton, McGregor, Turnbull, Jota, Kyogo, Abada, or Forest.
And then
we're
not too fussed if Julian does get thrown in.
Not too fussed at all. I mean, it's not the worst thing that could happen at Hampden. I think this Saturday. I think that we're just going to hope and pray everybody gets through the warm-ups. Julian gets through the game if he does play, and we go from there. And that's that. Do you care to give a score prediction for Saturday?
I'd maybe hope for. I mean, I'd like a 3-0 or something, but see if we just go out and get a 2-0 professional win. I'd be happy with any win, but obviously you want to see a good performance, so I'd hope for a wee 2-0.
Wee 2-0.
Obviously we got that at Celtic Park back in what was it, October we played
Yeah,
them.
that was when Jack
But
Marcus scored, wasn't it?
that could have been so much better.
See,
And
he's injured again.
so a week, an extra. I think he's out for an extra week now.
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing. I feel like St Johnstone will be coming out to try and get a better showing of themselves, because some of the defending, the defending for 1-0 goals was calamitous. So.
Aye. So your score prediction, what you saying, 7-0 or something?
I'm going to go for 3-0.
3-0. I'm going to go for... I was actually going to say 3-0 as well, so I'm going to stick with 3-0. I think it could be a 3-0 at the weekend. But I'm buzzing to get back. Hopefully Ange Postecoglou gets off to a flyer at Hampden Park, and hopefully we see ourselves into a December 19th Cup final at Hampden Park, either against Rangers or Hibs. Both teams have a talking point tonight. Rangers, of course, appointing their new manager, Van Bronckhorst. He's there. Not that bothered.
I don't really care who they got in, to be honest. It's just about us and focusing on us this season.
Yeah.
That's what it's always been.
But the other team, I wanted to bring this up. 6,000 Hibs are taking. 6,000.
Hibs support taking to Hampden is a fucking joke, man.
That's embarrassing. But they asked for half the stadium, I'm sure.
See, I think half the stadium's granted as like a sort of courtesy until they then knock it back. But it was only like a few days ago, or like the start of this week, end of last week, when they actually turned around and said, "Now we're only sold 6,000."
That's just utterly baffling.
I mean,
6K.
It's a bit embarrassing, to be
It
honest.
is. It's such a tin pot thing, isn't it?
an Urang Road.
I know. Maybe some of them have just resigned to the thought of defeat, and they're like, there's no point going. But I mean, Hibs have.
I thought, like, see if it was against us, then fair enough. But Hibs have always got the pure bit between their teeth with Rangers. Like, they pure hate Rangers as well. So, but you can guarantee if they got to the final, they would all turn out in their numbers.
Aye. Well, that's that. We'll see who we play on the 19th. That'll be interessante. There was one thing.
If we get to the final.
If we get to the final. Sorry. Apologies. I really do apologise. Didn't mean that. It was just, I was thinking about the next part of the show. And
It's just the winning mentality, mate.
that's it, mate. Winning mentality. Watch us get fucking beat now. Right, so a comment was brought up in the last podcast. I don't know if any of you've seen it, 'cause I know you sometimes scroll through the comment section, and somebody was saying like, oh, they were watching the show with their grandson, and they're like, enough of the fucking swearing, you swear too much and all that. I'm like, listen, you clearly don't know the show you're watching. This is one thing, and I wanted to just make this point perfectly clear for anybody who does listen and maybe does get offended by swearing or gets offended by any language used by any of our contributors. Well, fuck off. No, I'm joking. But in all seriousness, the whole point in the Celtic the Thunder being brought into the channel, being set up, was to bring a Celtic podcast in that suited the style and the fashion and the comedic sort of. I'm not saying we're funny, but like our sense of humour. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, it's all that sort of thing. This is our style. We're not going to change it, and I think it's been pretty successful.
What do you think your demographic is?
Old guys and their grandsons. Apparently.
And there's such a you get so many comments from people at different ages and all the rest of it. But
That's good though.
that is fucking cracking.
We cater to everybody here.
And on that note, I mean, I'm waiting till the 1 year anniversary to release the full on statistics. But to this point right now, we've currently accumulated 320,000 views on YouTube alone for the podcast. So
Across 41.
Across 41 episodes. Fantastic numbers. So thank you everybody who has been watching over the past sort of 11 months now. We're looking forward to bringing you even more with hopefully even more views. So thank you. So please, if you get offended, I apologise, but it's not going to fucking change. Yeah, so we've got a couple more things to talk about, of course. That was a loud one, that.
Sorry, mate. Try to as well as I can, mate.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there was something else I wanted to bring up there before we moved on, but it's completely slipped my head. So I guess we'll move on to the next subject and one of the big subjects of this week, and that was Celtic's AGM, the annual general meeting. It was conducted yesterday. And obviously, you know how an AGM works. Every year they look over the running of the club over the previous 12 months. They vote on different resolutions and they talk about different situations. And of course, this AGM, just like the last AGM, was going to be massive. So Ryan's got a lot there. He's going to dive into it in a minute, but I'll come to you first, Kieran. Going into this AGM, I was expecting Dermot Desmond to be a no-show. He was a no-show. I was expecting it to be a bit of a car crash. It was a bit of a car crash. And I think that AGM kind of brings together what the last 12 months at Celtic has been.
I mean, it cements that the issues with the board are still there. I mean, no matter how well we play on the field, it's just a mere distraction that helps paper over the cracks. But things like the AGM allow the cracks to show. And some people still want to just cover their eyes and pretend it's not happening. Yep. And that's the problem that's landed as in this problem, because people are not willing to actually call out the board for years. But I mean, obviously last season probably was the catalyst for it to, like, the cracks began to show that were covered over by the success of Brendan Rodgers and that. But the thing that I've agreed with most with people saying is that they got lucky with Ange, because if this didn't work out, then it's so annoying, because you still get people there in the very small minority that will blindly defend the board, and it's the same people that say, oh, the Green Brigade don't think for me, but apparently the board does. That's as simple as
But they
it
are
is.
there, and look, I guess everybody's entitled to their opinion, and we'll come on to the specific matter that I'm going to like kind of allude to here. But there were still people in the comments of my video yesterday giving it, oh, the board do this right and do that, and I'm like, no. No, they
It's just
don't.
the fact people will be like, oh, look at across the city. I'm like, is that really the standards you're trying to compare it to? Genuinely, I'm like, is the bar so low that we look brilliant because we're not
losing £100 million?
It's the fact as well. But even a few months ago when you had the protests and that, and it's like, oh, you can't protest, we just won at the weekend. I'm like, what? What is that? Is the exact reason? Like, that's how things have been papered over in the past, because people are blinded by, like, they can't see the issues that are underlying. But I'm sure you'll be coming on to more specific details about why it was a car crash.
Yeah, so Ryan, I'm going to let you go ahead and host this wee segment of the show and talk about different things, and you can ask questions, because I'd like to sit back.
So I think it started off with a sort of tribute to Bertie Auld, which was well received, and then they played a video talking to Michael Nicholson, Ian Bankier, who we'll talk about in much more detail later, and they were just talking about the future of the club. That was all well and good. I think there was a couple of strange comments, but I've completely forgot about them, because I'm looking at these resolutions here. So they go into the resolutions. The first 4 get passed just quite.
Get on to resolution 12.
That's actually called resolution 11.
Oh, I thought it was 13 now. There we go.
It might be. Do you know? I think it was resolution 11.
Well, anyway.
But these usually just happen, like, and then resolution 5 and 6 weren't carried in the room. So Brian Wilson, not enough people put their hands up for him to get re-elected to the board because of his comments a couple of weeks ago, the demotion comments, and that hits the older fans. I think I don't think they like that sort of thing at all. And then resolution 6, there was loud boos when Bankier was talking, and he had to go to a poll as well. Resolution 5 and 6, they both had to go to a poll. Like, that doesn't happen. And this is very rare for this to happen, and I can't really see how they can carry on, these two.
Yeah, so that was the big talking point after this. It was like, well, surely this should be the end of the line.
It should be, but all of Dermot Desmond's shares indicate that they just confirm that it'll just be as is.
Yep. There's so much power held in one position, sort of thing. So what was the Brian Wilson comment saying? Just to clarify for people who don't really know.
So he said that Rangers were demoted.
Aye.
And that's basically it.
Aye. So obviously in case you're wondering, you're sitting there. He basically didn't say Rangers are dead. Aye.
He didn't say that Rangers. He didn't say that Rangers get liquidated. When they did,
yep.
They did get liquidated. It was in news. It was news for months. It didn't look very good when he said that, and you knew that the fans were going to have a negative sort of reaction, or a certain element of the fans would have a negative reception. But from what I've heard, that the AGM was a complete car crash. You had Bankier coming in trying to crack jokes, talking about getting Scott Brown back. Which is really weird, which I think actually undermines our current captain completely. That's
what I was going to say on the show. I was like, surely you're Callum McGregor, and you see that and you're like, oh, am I not good enough now?
We need to get him back. Do we really need him? Because we've got enough leaders on this pitch now. We've got Joe Hart, we've got Tony Ralston as well, who's becoming a bit of a leader in the team. We've got Callum McGregor, who's the captain. We've got other guys as well. It really doesn't make sense to me, that comment. I think that's really ill-advised, to be honest. And that's the sort of thing that will come out and people will get annoyed at. And it did get the reaction that I thought it would, because people were really, really annoyed by it.
Do you think, Kieran, that with the whole not enough hands going up in the air and things having to go to a poll and all that, do you think now is the time when a lot of people are getting to the end of the line with these guys, and the kind of, we throw around that word charlatans a lot and all that, people are waking up to the realisation, the people who are most involved with the club are coming to the realisation?
I think the people in the club are fully aware of how they're perceived, to be honest with you. I don't think they're pretty tone deaf, but at the same time I don't think they're stupid in terms of they know what people think of them. But I mean, even the people voting against them, it's not enough to do it, is it? Because for any real action to be taken, because we can just get outvoted by people with more shares,
more
can't know?
shares,
So, and I think that's what happens. But I don't know. I feel like they're fully aware of what people think of him. Like if they thought they were, if he's, I don't know, but as soon as he's gone in cracking jokes and that, I can just imagine that gone down like a lead balloon. Ian Bankier does not seem like the kind of guy that I would chuckle at. Like,
No, me neither.
Imagine that just sitting there and he's sitting there and he's proper giggling away. So like,
he's wheezing into the mic.
But this has been a criticism of the board for years, that they can't read a room.
Yeah.
And again, that's shown
they
can't.
quite literally couldn't read a room on this occasion.
But
You just
It's
think people
it's
can't be
mental.
that stupid, man. But people in such high positions that have walked into something like that, they're just so fucking, I don't know the word for it, they're just so unaware.
Dumb. Just dumb.
Yeah,
DUMB,
pretty much.
dumb. So what was, keep going after that.
So after that, then after the Scott Brown sort of tribute package, I don't know why they done a tribute package to somebody that doesn't even.
I'm just imagining something inside so strong in that playing. Like,
who made this?
All
Lenny?
pressing a slideshow.
It's like something at the office, isn't
We'll
it? Like
get Lenny back in and press the button.
Michael Scott calling
a
the
dove flies across the room.
calling the
Doesn't
meeting
it-
in the office.
A tribute. I mean,
Where was Lenny's tribute? Where was Neil Lennon's
Was that
tribute?
not,
you
is
were
that not another
desperate to do
sticking
that.
point? But like the complete lack of mention of Don Mackay
yeah,
and Neil
that was
Lennon,
another one.
as if they were
Um,
airbrushed for history.
Yeah, like, so that was...
Between that and the fact that they said that Peter Lawwell was instrumental in getting Ange
Ange,
through the door,
it was-
and possibly the worst kept secret in Scottish football, I would say.
It was just so stupid to come out with some bizarre things like that. But then that's one of the things I wanted to talk about heavily on this podcast, because I never got the chance to bring up my video yesterday, because it was focused on one guy, and we'll come on to him. We'll come on to the
Yeah,
guy
we'll get on to that next.
that's heavy. But the complete kind of, as you said, brushing over Don Mackay's departure, Neil Lennon's departure, getting £600,000 from the club, even though he resigned as Celtic manager.
Good Celtic man.
The whole story behind Don Mackay, nothing explained. They just danced over it. We spoke about it when we done the live stream the other day, and we said what we want to see discussed. We said we want to hear answers in regard to this. We heard nothing.
I think it's got to be 50-50 though. I think that's 50% on the board for not mentioning it, and 50% for the people in the room not saying anything about it. That's something that, in terms of public interest of the Celtic sport, a lot of people want to know what happened with Don Mackay for that to happen, because I mean, those personal issues that he had to get sorted out really, really quickly, because 1 month he's away from Celtic and next he's back in a job in rugby.
I know, it just seemed a bit hush-hush with everything into
Yeah,
it.
it's a bit of a weird one.
Does it make you think that there was something that went on behind the scenes? I mean, we've already said for months that, or since Don Mackay left, that we think something must have went on, but
Look at the body language between Don Mackay and Ian Bankier in the Ange press conference. It just looked off completely.
Bankier just sat there like a mannequin, man.
crack wheezing down the mic again.
It looked like
Dastardly and muttly, man.
He looked like a droopy flower, honestly. Somebody need to put some water in him or something.
It's a great comparison. That's a stupendous comparison, in fact. I was completely underwhelmed on that front, because I wanted to hear more. I wanted to hear more about Neil Lennon and why it took so long to make the decision that we did make, and that Neil Lennon apparently made, and then why he was given £600,000. That to me just seems like, oh, happy birthday, Neil, and they've gave him £600,000. I cared, like,
Looking out for your pals.
like, I know, like, we don't want you, we don't want you to be in a pub shouting "get off me." So there's £600,000.
It just sounds like they're getting a wee bung. £600,000 in cash, just in it. Cash in hand,
That's
no
probably the way
questions
they
asked.
do it as well, to be honest. We're so unprofessional in certain elements.
Yep.
You wouldn't be surprised at all.
So it was something I feel like had a complete. I don't think we're ever going to get answers to it. If there was a time to get answers to it, it was at the AGM. Now there's going to be no sort of real situation where the Celtic, anybody can get answers off these guys. So it's just going to be something that we'll never really know, I think.
And Hamish said on 67 Hail Hail that he was maybe thinking that a lot of the fans are now focusing on the present rather than the past, when they're obviously going up to shake Ange Postecoglou's hand at the end of the AGM. They maybe don't want to go back the way because of how bad last season was, and they just want to focus on what's coming ahead. But at the same time, it would be good to hear what exactly happened.
I'm definitely
For clarity.
I'm definitely on the side of let's look to the future, let's look forward. But what you've got to remember in saying that is that the future of Celtic is going to be so intertwined with the past of Celtic, because these guys are going to be there. Ange Postecoglou, put him aside for a minute, but Bankier and Nicholson, these guys.
It's fine to
were
be
there.
optimistic and look forward, but you need to recognise the mistakes of the past and learn from them.
Yep.
But are we going to learn from them is the main sticking point here, because the people's. I think they're very much hoping think people will just get swept away if we start doing well and forget that this happened and want to paper edit. And then, it kind of works, but because as soon as we start playing alright, some elements of your support think we're not allowed to hark back to the bad times. Like, oh, we're doing alright now, fucking shut up. I'm like, that is the exact reason why we're going to end up in that situation again.
Yep. But you got to say something there, Ryan? I thought you were.
I was just thinking of that video before the start of the AGM, and they said that they were going to like rectify things and change things and like sort of assess their performance over the last season. But they didn't mention how they were going to do it.
Yep.
So like you can't trust them at all.
And did we get any updates on Nicholson? Is he now
Still specky?
He didn't have his specs on in that video.
didn't have his specs on.
He's seen the online abuse.
He's been like, fuck this one. Nicholson, like
he get put onto the board
yep.
as a director, which was kind of expected. But we'll see, because that acting word gets used sometimes, and then other times it doesn't.
Other times we never heard about that. And one thing that I thought we also had to have clarification on was the modernisation of Celtic, because it was thrown about so much.
I think that came in with Don McKay, and suppose it seems like it's left with Don McKay.
It's that Abe Simpson.
It's
just the modernisation coming in, and then
is your name Bart?
But they did say that they were looking to bring in somebody as like a head of data as well, which was really good.
Yep.
That's positive. That's one positive you can take.
That
We've got to be
like
embracing analytics, because it is the future and the present as well. You see so many teams using it now.
Controversial to some, but I guess that is it, isn't it? It's just that kind of part and parcel with
the big teams
football.
Respect it, so we're a big team, so we need to respect the same things that other people are using.
Act like a big team.
Exactly.
So after that, it was the big one,
Aye.
The big one.
And I think this proves that it's not just like the fan groups that are annoyed by this, because of the loud boos in the room regarding Higgins. They were basically given, the person that was asking was giving them the sort of platform to basically squash the rumours completely and say we're not employing him, and they didn't do that.
No.
It sounded as if they're going to do it regardless of what people think.
As I said, it left far more questions than answers.
Yeah,
the whole situation.
And to use the examples of past disasters that have happened, that's really crass.
I feel like the nature of the way they answer that question was so derisive and like fucking like smarmy. It was just like we basically, you get the vibe we'll do what we want. So often what we'll tell you when we're ready to tell you, sort of thing. I'm like, to have this sort of cheek and the audacity to do something like that, and you get people out there that are moaning about the tennis ball protests and that at Dens Park. Expect them. Expect
more
even
protests,
more
and rightfully so.
Something like this isn't something you can just go, oh, it's fucking great. It's all your older ones, like, not all the older ones, but there's certain ones. You go into Facebook, anything to do with the Green Brigade, like people just love to hate the Green Brigade and things they do.
Exactly,
and they'll actually go as far as to take the board side just to be opposite to them, and it just freaks me out, because what a weird hill to die on.
So I want to highlight 3 comments I received yesterday in my video of Bernard Higgins. The first one was from a Rangers fan. And the Rangers fan said, first of all, it was your clear backing of the Palestinian protests, and now you're complaining about something that doesn't have an effect on you. You should sit down and accept it, because you're looking for something to cry at. Number one, I don't see how this ties into anything to do with an actual, world issue like the Palestinian situation. So completely unrelated. And number two, well, as a football supporter, a Celtic supporter, it does affect me. It affects me who's working at the football club.
It directly affects it.
I'm a season ticket holder. This is a guy that's got to be there. Number two, there was a comment, and it was along the lines of, what was it said again? It was the one I brought up to use beforehand on the... Oh yeah, somebody was like, Peter Lawless got torched last year. This is somebody that's been put in charge of security. The board will sleep easier at night with this guy in charge. He's not the fucking chairman's bodyguard. He's the head of security at Celtic Park. He's not going to be standing outside a board member's house at night to make sure nobody's walking up with a jerry can and fucking matches. It's nothing like that. And then there was just another couple of people who were going on about, Sellik and the Green Brigade and all the rest of it. I've got I don't have any allegiances to the Green Brigade or any supporters groups. But what I do have is morals. What I do have is a working and functioning brain that says to me, this guy shouldn't be working at the football club in any capacity for his past and for everything he's been involved in. This guy could be getting a job as fucking top chef, as I said, and I don't care.
Yeah, he could be handing out the pies. He
could be handing out a Paradise Windfall ticket for all I fucking care. I don't want him working at Celtic Park. And that's the way. And Kieran, you brought up the point of maybe some of the older support. In this specific situation, I think the majority of the older support are actually on our side. But there is that section that want to oppose the Green Brigade in every single.
You jump on Facebook and it's just all the comments and all your shite pages like Celtic FC at the corner, that pish. Like, I'm very sorry if you run that page or you love that page so much, but the comments are an absolute cesspit on anything to do with that. It's one of the ones you know exactly what it's going to be before you click on it, because as we know what the opposite side of you is, and we know how bitter people are about the Green Brigade at any chance, and whether you can go back to the people they're costing us with all these fines and that, and Lennon coming out and playing up to that side of the sport, that we could have bought a play with that. We might fucking buy a play, we've got more money.
A Celtic man Lenny cost us 600 grand. How many players could we have signed for that? Exactly.
It's the equivalent of like diving into the SNP page and looking at Rangers fans and the sort of comments, isn't it? It's like you're going to go in, you know what you're getting when you go in there. You know exactly what you're going to say.
Honestly, it's just.
This guy shouldn't be working at Celtic. The board should have had, and Banker should have sat there, put his hands in the air and went,
it's an open goal. It's an open
he could
goal.
have opened it. He could have held his hands up and went, it was a disaster to consider it. We've reversed it. It's not going to happen. We are now looking for a new candidate for the job.
Celtic just aren't very good at PR open goals, are they, man?
No, and they're not good at. And if I've learned one thing, is they're not good at admitting they were wrong. They can't do that. They can't admit they're wrong. Anybody on that board that seems to be like that, they can't admit it.
Even what Nicholson said, he said last season was a bad season, but the club isn't broken. So that's not fully admitting.
I know.
It's like saying, I'm sorry, but...
Aye.
It's not a full
like
sincere
partially accepting it, partially, but you're not going the full way when you should be.
I feel like something I seen thrown about was like they said something about taking accountability for last season, whilst also simultaneously not really taking any accountability for last season. Like, what are you doing to take accountability? You can't just say it. Like, it needs to be action taken.
And there was another thing that Bankier said as well. Just remember, they said it was a diverse board. Maybe a diverse board of white men of different ages.
Of white conservative men.
Some with
just
glasses,
one
some
woman,
without.
One woman on the board. That's some diversity, isn't it?
It's only one woman, aye.
Yeah, Sharon Brown, I think it is.
Oh, that's right.
She's widely tipped to be the next chairperson.
Oh, right, aye. Has she got any wise ideas?
Don't know. She's not Bankier, so...
Aye, well, I suppose. But yeah, it's just, I think it's just bizarre, because this is a matter that does affect once more the club relationship with supporters. And the club relationship with support, that's one that pissed me off. That pissed me fucking off, that. And we'll get on to that in a minute. But the club's...
we're not done with you yet, Bankier.
We're not
I've just remembered about that one.
I know, actually, thank God you found that, because I did want to bring that up today. But there's just, I'm looking through my comments section right now, and the vast majority of people are going, oh yeah, we need change in the boardroom, terrible in the boardroom, blah blah. But here, I'll read this out. I'll read this out verbatim, right? What this guy left. This is Celtic, whose CEO's house was subject of a fire attack earlier this year. The Celtic board would be negligent if they did not appoint the best and most effective security chief it could. Bernard Higgins seems to be well suited for this role, and I'm certainly sure the board and its staff at Celtic will sleep easier at night with him in charge, rather than some snowflake like Ryan.
Oh, there you go.
Just as well I've not applied for the job then, because I'm not fucking qualified.
Did you not go through Indeed for that one? No,
no, I did not. That's just so. Yeah, it's just
you can't win with those fans, unfortunately.
You cannot. It's just
there's no talking any sense to them. It's just. They say they're nonsensical ramblings, and you listen, and you sit here and we come on the podcast and we talk about it because it is It's even that thing, but see if I talk about going on Facebook, I would never dare reply to them, man, because you're going to have they all start teaming
40
up.
notifications.
It's as if they bounce on their phone to our pals, like, let's get this wee bastard.
Here's the one from the Rangers fan. I wanted because they're fucking cracking, to be quite honest. They are, and everybody that listens to the podcast deserves to hear them. Ryan,
Did he finish up with We Are the People at the end?
oh yeah, you've got to do that, of course, but to prove you're a good Rangers fan. Bob McBob, he said, Ryan, are you permanently offended, mate? We've had your Palestine protest, now you're playing to the Green Brigade with the protest against a policeman who tried to stamp out sectarianism. If it was a security member of Sinn Féin being appointed to this role at Parkhead, you would be creaming your Y-fronts. You are shameless in your pursuit of views.
Wait, what's this guy's name?
Bob McBob.
That sounds like a joke name for one of those boats, you know, Boaty McBoatface.
Oh, it's just, honestly, there's just, some of them are just...
See the people that moan about the Green Brigade, they're also the ones that moaned because they didn't sing for half an hour. The Green Brigade cannot win.
The thing I found most hilarious, the fans are like, I'm going to go and I'll be singing the full game. No, you fucking won't.
So this is the final. This is the final. This is the final one that really annoyed me. This was like seconds after the video went up, and it actually got 12 likes. I'm like, what? 12 people agreed with this, right? Fed up hearing the nonsense surrounding this guy. I understand some people's frustrations, but you've got to remember that these guys run and own the club. They are paid to own and run the club. That's the fucking problem. Don't bang on about no players bigger than the club, but when something doesn't go the fans' way, they all throw their dummies out the pram acting like kids.
Oh, fuck you, man.
Like, come on. Enough with the huffing and puffing, and let's get focused on getting
no, but
that
see the
title
thing
back.
see the thing that really annoys me is they act like it doesn't affect them directly, but I'm like, was this man not in charge of the police for nearly oversaw the near crush at Celtic Park in 2018?
Yeah,
They want to cite back to previous disasters, but your man Bernard Higgins was, I'm pretty sure he was overseeing, was it Police Scotland at that point or whatever?
Yeah.
And his officers nearly caused why they
could have been a tragic. People did go to hospital. People were injured.
People, you see on Twitter the day, people talking about it. People were trying to scale the cemetery wall and that. I'm like, that is the sort of level you're dealing with, and it's something that was kind of brushed under the carpet.
It wasn't made as serious a deal as it should have been. And that's the guy.
They expected the board to come out up firing on all cylinders in order to help the fans in an ideal world, but this board don't do that.
And I know that people might say it's rich if I say it one way, because apparently we see the sun shining at the Green Brigade's arse, right? But I don't look at it like that, because that's not my point of view. Look, I do agree with all the Green Brigade protests and all this, I do, but I'm not coming on here and campaigning for it.
We're not sitting here being cheerleaders.
But these guys are doing it. Tell me, where does the sun, what angle does it come at Ian Banker's arse? Because that is the impression I'm getting.
I know they've got a straw firmly wedged right up the arse of the board, and they can't see that. So,
and I know this, and we'll get on to the next topic. I meant to wrap all of that up. And I know a lot of people might be listening to this point in the podcast, and it might turn away a few of you. A few of you might go, "Yous boys are talking shite." Get on board with the fans.
This is the point where the comments start filling up. This is the point where the comments start filling up. That's when you start seeing the ones with 17 replies. That's when you know it's going to be a good one, because no likes on the first thing, but 17 replies. Oh, this is going to be tasty.
Tasty. So there you go, Ryan.
Yeah, and then the next point, the Champions League. This is who is in charge of our club. Bankier says European football has changed. He claims Celtic and other similarly sized teams go into the Champions League and get pasted. The reply, one of the people in the reply said, Ajax don't. Neither the Sheriff. Sheriff beat Real Madrid.
It's fucking that's
This is the height of ambition that we've got at the top of the football club.
Yep.
No wonder we fuck it every year in the Champions League with them in charge.
It's a defeatist attitude for the very top of the club.
I completely am willing to accept that European football has changed and European competition has changed, where it is to the point it's incredibly difficult for a club like Celtic to compete in it. But as that changes, Celtic changes.
Yep.
That's how it should go. These guys don't want change, and that's the reason we need them out the fucking club.
We've just been the board have just been sitting with their hands in their pockets, just saying, "Oh, look at all these teams are doing so well in Europe," and we've just sat and watched them.
It's the fact that for so long the benchmark was just to be better enough than Rangers.
Yep.
And we've completely disregarded Europe, and I think that's for the naivety of the fans, maybe to buy into the whole 10 in a row thing a bit too much, and we forgave a lack of European progression because we thought, oh, it's all about the 10.
Yep.
But then it blew up our faces, and then we were left with the smouldering wreckage, thinking, fuck me, we have let this slide for far too long. We went for being a consistent Champions League group stage club even prior to that, last 16 a couple of times as well, even under Neil Lennon back in 2012-13 season. To now we struggle to get out the Europa League group stages. The qualification process is a nightmare for us every season. As you said, European football has changed, but Celtic had the chance to change with it. I'm not saying we'd have been up there competing, but could have been structures put in place and protocols that we could have actually been. Not going to say we're going to go and do an Ajax, because Ajax is a far better run club than us. It would take so long to catch up to somebody like that, but we had our chance to change. We still can change, but we've certainly not give ourselves any form of head start, have we?
They don't even need to look further than our own Europa League group, because we beat Ferencvaros twice in this group. Last season they were in the fucking Champions League. Why can we not be in the Champions League? It's just
too comfortable.
It's just baffling to me.
People in the boardroom are too comfortable.
It pisses me off when I hear fans say, "Oh, Europa League's good enough." I don't want Europe. I want Champions League, man. I want to beat the fucking highest.
That's just fans being realistic.
That's
really annoying.
We're realists.
At least fans are saying it from the point of view of okay, we're going to be in the Europa League this year. But these guys have just, they may as well just come and say we're never going to be in the Champions League ever again, because that's the mentality.
That's what you can read into that, because it shows that they've accepted that this is the level we're at. Whereas the whole point with Don Mackay saying modernisation, we were hoping to be changing and trying to get ourselves back up as the stature of the club. But it shows these guys have got no ambition to do something like that. And as you said, this is why people like that need to be out of the boardroom.
You talk about similarly sized teams. Salzburg do alright in the Champions League. I think we're bigger than Salzburg, I would say that for sure.
Of course we're bigger. We might not have the financial backing that Salzburg have, but we're a bigger
historically
club.
Celtic are a Champions League club. We've won the
fucking competition.
We've won the competition itself. No, have we really got the best people in place for the job?
No, absolutely not. And that's I don't care how much you love these guys, because they've provided you with umpteen domestic honours over the past few years and kept us out of liquidation, unlike some other team in the city. We still should be aiming higher at all
that's the thing.
avenues.
I said it on TSF last week. I mean, doing better in Europe isn't a trophy in the cabinet. Obviously, you want the domestic success, and we've got that for the most part this century. But you need to have the European progression as well, especially with the fact of how far we fell behind. It's alright for Rangers because they're gradually building themselves up. We have been in free fall in Europe for a long time, and there needs to be a turning point, because we need to get into the Champions League next season. But if we've got any realistic ambition, I try to make that a common occurrence again.
Yep. Well, is that everything from the AGM that we have to cover, unless we want to dive into Resolution 12?
We'll save that for the comments.
Save that for the comments. We'll save that. Views maybe mine can be found on the
there's no talk about Don Mackay or Neil Lennon at all. Which
we want any Twitter questions? Have we got any?
I think so. I think that's pretty much everything covered for today. Before we jump into the Twitter questions, I wanted to bring up a manager of Celtic's past, Brendan Rodgers. Do you see the day he was out giving it the...
He'll be in that job by next week.
All the links are nonsense. They're not real. Anything that's been said is not real.
I've heard this one before.
He's halfway up the M6 right now. He's on his way. He'll be in Manchester anytime soon.
That'll definitely happen, I think.
What's it called? We should probably put it as well. I'm a bit late to say it in the podcast if people are not listening, but congratulations to the giveaway winner. I don't. What was his name? What was his name on Twitter again?
What was his name?
There was something very.
It was like Ruiz. Was his second name?
It was not Ruiz. There was something.
Garcia. That was it.
That's not his actual name.
No, I didn't.
But we won't disclose any real names.
Paddy Garcia, was it?
Aye, Paddy Garcia.
Paddy Garcia.
Twitter user Paddy Garcia.
Who won 2 tickets for Hampden Park on Saturday to see Celtic take on St Johnstone. Congratulations, mate. The Ginley will be on the penny farthing tomorrow to bring you said ticket.
I didn't get that. What is a penny farthing?
Oh, you don't know what a penny farthing is?
You don't know what a penny farthing is? Good, go a penny farthing.
We'll get you a punty, a punt.
You've got to ride this into him now, by the way. Right. Have you spelled it right? Aye.
Oh, aye.
A penny farthing, aye.
I've got a wee go at that, man. I don't know if my legs would get down there.
Up Coatbridge Main Street on one of them.
You need to have a top hat on as well.
It'd be quite high tech if I was going down the Main Street with that.
You'd be the talk of the town. Look at him and his new penny farthing. It's time for the Twitter questions segment of the show. Kieran's going to be hosting the quiz today, so Ryan, I'll let you host the Twitter questions.
Just get them up.
So thank you for the interaction alongside the giveaway. Keep following the Twitter page at Sellik Podcast. Hopefully soon. I'm trying to sort out technological things to try and bring back phone-ins in here so they can be in here through the machines and all the rest of it. So if you ever want to get involved in them, we'll be there. But we're going to try and sort out the technology for that and see what happens. But yes, Twitter questions, McGinley, fire away. I'll let you do it in whatever fashion you like.
No problem at all. So John asks if you could have any player on the podcast as a guest, who would it be?
Oh, past or present?
We'll do one for past, one for present.
Right, okay. If it was past, it would have had to have been Bertie, wouldn't it? Like, Bertie would have been some shout. He would have been what a guest. He would have been, the stories would have been unbelievable. And feeling there's a few, obviously, like, you would have loved to have spoke to somebody like Tommy Burns as well.
That's who I'd go for past player. Tommy
Is that
Burns.
who you'd go for? Tommy Burns? I think that I'd have to go for Bertie Auld. The past, it would have to be
He'd be
Bertie.
cracking, wouldn't he?
He would.
Absolutely
Who
brilliant.
would be your past player?
I know he didn't play for us for that long, but Tommy Gravison would be funny.
Gravison,
that'd be
aye,
funny,
be a
aye.
good laugh, to be fair. A good laugh.
Henrik as well, if he's
Henrik.
still in the good books.
I'm seeing Henrik next week.
Are you?
I'm going to that Sutton, Hartson and Larson night.
You're going to give him a scalp for liking that Instagram post?
Oh, aye, cheeky bastard.
in the bad books,
Yeah, it's in
aye.
the bad books. But that's the thing, you can never be angry at Henrik, can you?
I mean,
Don't be
I didn't really grow up with him, to be fair. So
don't be disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful to Henrik now. I think current player. I know mine. I know mine.
I'm gonna go with Kyogo. I was only his translator there,
I
but
was about to say that's going to be a difficult
what are
one.
you saying, mate?
I'm not writing the subtitles for that one.
I know who I'm going for. It's decent.
I'd probably go with Joe Hart as well, aye.
Tell him, lads. That's who I'd want. I have found myself deep into Joe Hart TikTok. Like, do you know
Heart talk.
Hart Talk guy? Do you know how many compilations there is like Joe Hart's best moments in TikTok? Where like just mad dramatic music in the background. It's fucking incredible. I love it.
I don't know if I should tell the viewers, but about you and Joe Hart.
No, you should not. No,
No, it's
you
nothing
should not.
bad. It's
No,
just-
it is bad.
I mean,
It is. That
for your allegiances, aye.
Aye,
I'm not
aye,
going
it's
to talk
bad.
about it.
Yes, that is bad.
Leave
But-
it to your imagination.
but
Maybe
I've-
that's worse, actually.
Aye,
But you know,
that could be worse. No, Joe Hart for me. It would have to be Joe Hart. I've
I'm trying to
found
think of a
myself quickly
second
loving him.
person, if not for Joe Hart.
You'd surely love like I don't know actually. You're
There's
random,
people that I
isn't
wouldn't have on it. Like
You should get YouTube.
Turnbull's not the best speaker.
Oh no, that was
You've seen him on Open Goal.
it? Aye, yes, of
They
course.
said something like a sponsored silence.
Just back training and that.
Back
No, I
to you.
love Turnbull, man.
Get McCarthy when he was some speaker. Fuck.
Here for a week, man.
I was back in training.
for a couple of days.
couple of days here and there.
I think Calmac would be quite good
I
though.
see
as well.
we
He's a
get-
really good speaker.
I see we
man.
get YouTube sensation of Sazi Origide.
Yeah, I think he'd be quite good. To be fair, I think it'd be cool to speak to him. I think he's quite a.
He's good. He's good somewhere.
Oh jeez, that's a shame. He's barely fucking kicked the ball. Aye, so I'd go Hart.
right.
I'd go Hart. You'd go Kyogo, and you'd go
He went Hart and all,
Aye,
but
Hart.
Hart.
Heart or Calmac, one of the two.
One of the two. Okay.
Is the Beaton, Calmac and Turnbull midfield trio now our best midfield at the moment, asks Max.
at the moment, because we've not got any other option. But Rogic comes straight back into that as soon as he's fit.
Yeah,
and then Beaton's out and
And
McGregor
then
moves
we
back.
sign somebody in January. Aye.
And McGregor's in his best role when he's playing as a holding midfielder, I think. He's not good defensively, I wouldn't say,
I feel
but
that's hotly debated between the sport because people like to see him going forward, but at the same time we've got the options going forward. Like we don't need to have Cal McGregor there, and
The role,
we don't have the
I think his
personnel.
best role is what he does for Scotland. I think he's fucking brilliant in the Scotland team.
doing all the hard work for Gilmore.
No, a
does?
controversial. Nah, both of them complement each other very nicely, I think.
Yeah, the two of them, that double sort of role was absolutely beautiful.
Did you see on like Twitter the other day after the Scotland game, as if it was going to happen, but a lot of people were like, would you take Gilmore on loan?
His mum wouldn't.
I know, his mum wouldn't, right? But like, what a daft fucking quit. Of course you'd take him on loan.
Where would his mum sit in the stadium?
She wouldn't
It's very,
go.
very green.
She wouldn't go.
Sitting in a way in.
Fuck you. On one of the white seats.
looking about the red zone because that's the only place you can sit in.
Right, next question.
Hannah asks, did anyone get the chance to watch Angie's interview with Gerard? Is it Waitley?
I know.
I did watch it.
I've not seen it
Is that
yet.
the mad thing? Like, is that the thing I referenced earlier? Aye.
Yep. It's
I've
the
seen
20
the
minutes.
clips yet.
Not seen it yet.
Some interesting things said, such as the fact Ange got a call from Celtic and within 24 hours he offered them the position. Any other thoughts in the interview? I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Not seen it yet. Go and watch it when I go home.
He's a totally different person when he's talking to other Australian media as
Is
well. He's so much more comfortable. Very, very much like the sort of fan media press conference. But even more comfortable.
He called me mate.
Now, I don't know if that's a positive or a negative.
Well,
He did call that guy that he was on the interview with mate as well.
Well,
so
you seen the way he said it to me. You know, it wasn't like a shut up, mate. It was like, yeah, I'm good, mate. You know, it was well, they say it to everybody in Australia. It's hardly anything fucking special.
did you see the one with Fridzo?
Best
Best short story.
Short story.
Phenomenal.
Hi,
It's just Fridzo to a T, man. I love it.
Mary Hill's favourite son.
True. I don't know if I should read that one.
What is it?
Most likely to shag another player's missus.
I seen that.
What does that mean?
At first, when I seen it, I thought he meant at the panel, and I was like, "Fucking hard luck with any of us." Most likely. So who's John Terry?
Yeah, I think so.
It's decent.
Tell him that. Boy, isn't it?
He's a big shagger, so like.
Who do you think's the silent assassin in the group? Who do you think's the?
Turnbull.
I think Turnbull's got a bit of game about him.
I thought, because he hits it, just training that.
I played that football and that.
But you can imagine that few bevy in him, he's that lets you sell loose a wee bit.
I could imagine that, man.
I can't.
He'd be like the tin. He'd be like the tin man once you put oil in him.
Aye, I think so. I think he'd be a mover.
I can't picture it, man. You need to hit up Sanctuary whenever he next goes, man.
Thanks,
I don't know if I've actually seen it before his feet at Motherwell way, but what shite if they go out that way?
Merlin's.
Christ. Sounds awful, just with the name of it.
I feel like I should go in a wizard's cloak, man.
Just thought you know that's close.
I'm imagining myself going in.
Right, we were going to 2018 Halloween, right? We were going
Anecdote time.
We were going into the tune. Well, obviously their costumes.
Can I tell that?
We had our costumes in that one, and Kieran went out dressed as a priest. So he had like he had like the big black robe with a collar, but he had his cheek on. And it was so funny because it looked as though he was off to the mosque or something, because he just had to threaten, didn't he? And he had his cheek.
The guy, I think we went to Driftwood before it. The guy was like, "Where the fuck are you meant to be?" Is that a dress? I pulled it in and revealed the collar. He's like, "Oh, right." He just had a black dress on me, a pretty green bubble jacket zipped up to the top.
I'm turning up my wizard coat and a bubble jacket. Brilliant.
Oh, brilliant.
So what's your answers to that then?
What, the dark horse or what was
the who's shag who's missus or something?
I don't even know.
Big Tam?
Big Tam.
Tam Rogic, aye.
I think Tam's too nice.
He's a very handsome boy, isn't he?
We've
He's
seen-
got Lego here, but he's a handsome boy.
Kieran's just like, carry big
I can't even get him.
bricky.
Jota, actually, Jota.
Jota's a sweetheart.
That man is gorgeous.
I know, but
Oh, come on.
But that's the thing, you've got to question morals here, Brian. It's more about the morals.
I know we
than
don't
the
know them
looks.
all on a personal level. We just see 2-minute interviews after games and think, "Oh, they're
Some boy.
adorable. They wouldn't do that."
I've spoken to James McCarthy. It's certainly not him.
No,
Certainly not him.
he's happily married though. He's happy with his lot.
Right, next
4-year
one.
deal. Not really doing
Right,
much.
how do we get invited to fan media pressers when we
Don't
talk
think
about
we'll
things like
after
this?
the board talk.
Won't get invited to the Turnbull one anyway. What's it?
So, David, can I just ask very quickly, do you go to Merlin's?
Somebody needs to ask him if he knows what XG is yet.
Oh, right, aye.
Remember that? That was
That's
last
right,
season as
aye.
well. If we win on Saturday, Kieran asks, would you rather we get Rangers or Hibs in the final? We'll beat either one of them, so I don't mind.
Oh, that's the talk of a cocky, confident man.
If we get to the final, I mean, I don't know. You like the idea of an Old Firm final, but you'd also be making buttons the full time.
Bring on any of the two motherfuckers.
And
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
really
much.
not too fussed, to be honest. Final's a final. It's got to be a big occasion, regardless if we get there.
Yep.
What has been your favourite Hampden memory so far in your lifetime, asks Archie.
Pumping Rangers 4-0 for me.
I'll go-
Over the
I'll-
2-1?
Oh shit!
I would guess you've got Tom Rogic for the invincible treble.
Yes, that's it.
You could even go with the Edward goes off the treble, but I don't think Rogic just to finish after the invincible
Absolutely.
season.
Yep, absolutely that.
The treble was so great up until about 20 minutes after the game.
Oh, aye,
And then
that's
that
right.
was announced.
Ruined the day.
And I actually felt like we'd lost that game.
Aye. We'd have been better losing the game.
Yeah, probably. They would have probably given it to him anyway.
Probably wouldn't have made a
honest.
fucking difference.
Yeah.
Right. Any more?
Describe Dermot Desmond in one word and one word only.
Fuck. I thought I was going to get 2 because I wanted to go with Moustache Bastard.
Moustache bastard.
Fritzl.
Fritzl, is that your word?
Absent.
Cunt.
There's the Pressel's probably brilliant.
No, Moustache.
Moustache.
Aye. Moustache, yeah, question.
That'll shave it for later.
There your weasel at bank here.
Jamie asks, are you ready for another Hampden masterclass from the Bethlehem Busquets at the weekend?
Yes. Hopefully.
And I think this will be the last one. What's your favourite Bertie Auld story or video that you've heard or seen? And where do you think the club will be in 5 years' time after the AGM?
So
that's 2 questions.
Two questions in one. Where do I think the club will be in 5 years' time? Winning the league title. Ange winning 5 in a row. And party time.
Age will Ange be in 5 years' time? 61?
Something like that.
I've just thought of another one for the Bertie Auld story. I seen it on Twitter. It was like the guy, he said, did you know why the Lisbon Lions was gay? He's like, well, what one? He's like, come in, I'll tell you. They kiss him on the cheek.
Brilliant. There's a few crackers. Just to finish off. One of we, I'll let you tell one as well if you've got one. But just to, there's so many good ones. That one was hilarious though about the signing the stuff for the supporters, and it was a Rangers fan. It was there. I think it was a woman. And he was like, but do you want me to sign something? He's like, nah, it's alright, I'm a Rangers fan. That's alright, I won't date and joined up writing. That was fucking brilliant, that one.
I think my favourite one's that one with, I don't know if is it Peter Martin and Ruffy? What's your favourite what's your best away result? I can't tell you, the wife will be watching. That's phenomenal.
Do you think I'm a grass, Peter? Even the fucking, actually, I think my favourite actually is the whole stand in the tunnel with John Gregg. John Gregg turns into him and says, what's your bonus today, wee man? I said, £3. He says, oh, is that right? Mine's just £6. At least I know I'm getting fucking free.
At least mine's is guaranteed.
Guaranteed. At least I'm guaranteed fucking free.
Kieran, where do you think the club will be in 5 years' time?
I mean, realistically, I don't know. I want to go for the hopeful scenario here. The boards has had a reshuffle, get the right people on board that aren't going to just be in the door for 2 months this time, and hopefully try and drag a club into the modern age. Because as we never just touched on, we spoke about it in a decent bit of depth, that we really need to try and buck up our ideas and trying to progress in Europe, because obviously we want to progress in the domestic front again, try and rebuild that, but it's important to try and rebuild it simultaneously. We try to progress in Europe again, get into the Champions League, because if we've got any realistic ambition, that's where we need to be playing our football.
Do you think we will still be playing in the same league in 5 years? Definitely.
Yes, we're never going to play in England, if that's what you're trying to say. Never ever going to happen. If it's not happened in 140 years of or 130 odd years of our existence, it's not going to happen now. It's not going to happen. I think the only way that Celtic will ever play in England is if Rangers fully kick the bucket. Then I think we may move to England if Rangers kick the bucket. But I just don't ever see it happening. I don't see it happening. Do you honestly for a moment sit and believe that Celtic fans will be accepting of it?
I don't think it would happen. I think
other teams in Scotland wouldn't be accepting of it.
I would see protests of Super League proportions in Glasgow. Yes.
I feel like you've got a lot of people who maybe be swayed by the idea, but at the same time it'd be catastrophic for Scottish football.
I just think that you look at someone like Bertie Auld, you look at someone like these guys, I don't think that's what they built for. They built to win league titles, they built to win Scottish Cups, they built to win. I just don't think. I feel like
if you were to try and buy into it and go, I'd like to go down there, then that
it's kind
of subconsciously you're accepting all the criticism that you've sort of took after the English for so many years, try to belittle the league. You're belittling it by wanting to leave it and go into pastures new. I feel like it would just be. I don't know, rakes up your arrogance.
You love the modernisation and that, Ryan, too, but that's a step.
See when Don Mackay said modernisation, I was there.
It's a step too far, that though. It is.
I don't think that.
See how that. We'll see. I just think
that goes against the grain of Celtic Football Club. I think to go for what, just so we can get £1 billion in our pocket, or no, in our pocket, in Dermot's pocket.
It's a whole. As we say this every week. There's always a topic gets brought. It's a podcast in itself.
Podcast on its own, and we will do a podcast.
I don't have a big opinion on it.
That's an off-season one.
That's a summer special. Right, so before we get into the quiz, a couple of announcements. Well, I say a couple. One big announcement. Me and Kieran are going to be away for the week. We're going on a romantic getaway. We're off to we're off to Leverkusen next week.
Here comes the accent.
We're actually off to
Fuck off.
Köln.
Do you want my space, Ryan?
We're off to the Germany, yeah, North Rhine-Westphalia. But no, we're off to Germany.
This is the first podcast we've done since Daniel Farker.
Rest in peace, Daniel Farker, yeah. It's gone. But we're away next week, so it kind of throws a spanner in the works for the normally scheduled podcasts, because we're obviously on to doing these sort of Friday shows now. So I don't know what's going to quite happen yet. I am going to be taking my camera and my laptop over to Germany. If push comes to shove, I'll try maybe do a Zoom link up with Ryan, and we do maybe a show between the two of us, because Kieran won't have his laptop, so we'll try. I'll sort something. If not, there'll be a podcast when we're back and we've recovered because I intend to be in a poor way.
If I'm in any state to get in front of a camera, then I've not done Germany right.
Exactly. So we'll see how it goes, but we're going to be there. We're going to be partying up. We're actually going to 2 games over there, aren't we, Kieran?
We've got the Dusseldorf game
Dusseldorf.
on. I couldn't tell you how you pronounce the
Heidenheim. Is that who they're playing? Aye.
See the way you showed that on your Google on your Apple Wallet. I thought you got it through your club card because it's on the bottom of it as well. Because like it shows the Dusseldorf ticket, but at the bottom it says Tesco club card.
Oh, does it?
So I thought you maybe got it on your club card. I don't know.
Didn't even realise that.
Use your points.
Yeah, can I use my staff discount on that, please? So we're going Wednesday night. We'll be out getting pished. Thursday night we'll be out at Sellik game getting pished, and the Friday night we'll be out at the Dusseldorf game getting pished. So I'm looking forward to it. There will be content. I'll get something up. Don't worry. But I'm just dying. Good to get abroad, Kieran.
Oh, aye. Nearly went a full calendar year without it.
More than that.
No, I mean, like, I got away in 2020.
Oh, right. I forgot. You went to Budapest. That's right. I'm thinking the last
just
time
before
you went abroad
lockdown
was Rome. Aye, well, no, you gotta go, Ryan. You're gonna be back here.
Yep. I mean, I do have flights, but I'm not going on them.
So have you paid for this flight?
No. It was one of those ones that my pal. I said to my pal I can't go, and he still bought me a ticket anyway.
So what's he doing, mate? Is he just?
I've not spoken to him in a week, so I don't know. I'm kind of living in fear here.
Go get a meal on Wednesday morning, where are you?
I'm getting an invoice for
You're going to drive him for the studio and he's going to be waiting. We're back.
Right, but it's that time of the podcast. Let's get on to it. Let's get on to the Celtic Defenders end of show. If you know your history quiz, I'll just turn off that just now. I would have got the Celtic song on it, especially for this week, but the software wasn't working on my laptop. But this week, Kieran Auld's Chris Tarrant.
What a host I'll be.
Oh yes.
But I'm not flipping my coin, so somebody pick.
Well, Ryan, you've won more recently than me, I think, so I'll let you pick if you want to go set it yourself.
I'll go first.
Okay. Right. So question 1 for Ryan McGinley, set A. It has been 52 years since St Johnstone last met Celtic in the League Cup final, but who was the only goal scorer in that game?
Now, I know we done a question on this a couple of weeks ago, and it was excluding the goal scorer. Is it Bobby Lennox?
Bertie Auld.
Very suited there.
Okay, so set B, Ryan.
Yes.
Bertie Auld sadly passed away last week, but which area in Glasgow was the Celtic legend born?
Maryhill.
1-0 Ryan.
Yep.
Right, question 2 for Ryan McGinley. Callum McGregor was vital in Scotland's 2-0 victory over Denmark on Monday night. Name all 5 ex-Celtic players, including youth, that played a part in the victory.
So,
players that currently not at Celtic.
Right. Robertson.
Yep.
Calmack.
Not currently at Celtic.
Not currently at Celtic.
Ex-Celtic
right,
players.
That's fine. Right.
I'll let you away with that.
Cheers, mate. Armstrong.
Yep.
Let me go through them. So I've got Robertson.
And you've got Armstrong.
Tierney.
Yep. 2 more.
Just going through. Oh my god.
Oh, come on.
It's just a start 11, right?
Gordon.
Yep. One more.
Oh my god.
Oh, wait,
Is it just the starting 11?
No, it's played a part, so they could have came on as a sub. I can't mind if they came on as a sub or not, to be honest. So you've got Gordon, Tierney, Robertson and Armstrong so far. One more
I've
again.
completely forgot. Trying to think who's... Do you know...
Who in that Scotland squad has moved on from Celtic, other than them?
Other than Armstrong?
See, it feels obvious because I'm sitting here looking at it, but I would definitely be in the exact same boat.
Aye.
It's obvious.
Did he come on as a sub?
I don't fucking know. I can't remember, man. my brain's like a sieve.
I sure there's a time on this
I know.
marker.
Right, come on.
I honestly I can't think of
You
another
giving
one.
up? I'm going to count you down for 5.
Right.
5, 4, 3, 2,
No, I
1.
can't think at all.
Ryan
Christie,
Christie.
aye, Christie. I was sitting there, and then I
See,
couldn't.
because I'm so used to him still... I'm used to him being at Celtic.
know.
I'm not used to him going.
See, I knew
I
it
was
was
gonna
Christie, but I
say
was just wasn't
recent-
sure if he was
I
in
was
the
going to say
squad.
recent departure, but that would have just...
I wouldn't
been
get that
cheating.
way, yeah.
I wouldn't have even got that team.
Right, so
That's
question
up to now,
Question 2 for Ryan. Josip Juranovic kept a clean sheet for Croatia in a 1-0 victory over Russia on Sunday. Name 3 other players that started in the Croatia team alongside Josip.
I honestly could not tell you, but I'm going to just guess.
Any 3 players.
I'm going to say Modric, and he's not going to be there, is he? Modric.
He's there.
Right, Modric is there. Ivan Perisic.
Yep, one more.
This is where your mind hits a fart here. See it. Do I want to say him? Did he
I know what you're
start?
going to say.
Did he start though? That's the question. Sebastic, the goalkeeper.
No.
Bastard.
Would have been
Oh,
Novakovic.
You've got Brozovic,
Brozovic,
Kramaric, Lovren,
Don't tell me
Vlasic.
Barisic wasn't there, was he?
Nah.
Thank fuck, 'cause I was going to say him. So many names.
Wait,
I
hold
just-
on, who was the person you said actually?
I said Sebastic.
No.
Nah.
Was it
It's
Novakovic?
Aye.
Man. I'm trying to... Right, so you've got Modric, Brozovic, Perisic, Kramaric, Lovren, Vlasic, Gvardiol, Sosa, Grabic or something.
So many names I
and
could have got.
Pasalic. I
There's
don't know how you say it.
so many fucking names I should have got, but man,
Right,
just
so-
so it's only one now still.
Right, so question 3 for Ryan McGinley. Bertie Auld famously wore the number 10 shirt for Celtic. Name 2 current players whose shirt numbers can be added to make Bertie's number. So their squad numbers added together
Right.
to make 10. Just 2 players. That
I've
do
got 2 right now.
Eh,
Straight away, boom.
oh no.
I've got 3 possible combinations here.
3 combinations.
This one should have.
Yakimakis 7
Mm-hmm.
and Greg Taylor 3.
I was going to go
Correct.
for Kyogo and Julian.
Mm-hmm. Or you could have went Starfelt and Beaton.
I hate that. I hate that Julian has the number
So-
2. That is a
I
fullback's
know,
number.
that's a fullback.
So that's us at 1 each now. Ryan with a chance to go 2-1 up here.
I can, that's it.
Oof, I don't know if he's got to go. I don't think he's got to be going 2-1 up here. Celtic B defeated Broomhill, formerly BSC Glasgow, the BSC Glasgow, who scored against Hibernian's senior team in 2020 Scottish Cup. They beat them 4-2 over the international break. Name either of the 4 goal scorers in that 4-2 win.
Rocco Vata.
No.
Bastard.
Joey Dawson's and is it Summers or something like that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You've got Joey Dawson, you've got Frankie Dean, you've got Ben Summers, and you've got Lewis Dobby.
When they're fucking other scoob.
So
Yeah,
that's
offence, Celtic B
still,
is just-
still 1 each here.
Wow,
Right.
I could go 2-1 up here.
Question 4 for Ryan
Is that
McGinley.
hard?
Who were the only 2 Celtic players involved in Scotland under 21's 2-0 loss to Belgium at Tannadice?
Under 21,
Mm-hmm. Who were the 2 Celtic players that were playing in that team?
Welsh
Mm-hmm.
and 21. Monty?
Mm-hmm. Adam Montgomery.
Bastard.
So 2-1 to Ryan McGinley. Ryan with a chance to equalise here.
I
Who-
didn't put it on my hand.
Right, this was the one that was throwing me off earlier. Who was the last player to score an open play for Celtic at Hampden?
Lee
See-
Griffiths.
Yep.
Good answer.
Boom.
I definitely need to go.
Because I sat there like Lee Judge's no celebrating.
He's done it again.
So we're going into question 5 here. All we play for.
Oh,
Wow.
yes.
Okay, so Ryan McGinley, many players have moved between Celtic and Southampton over the years. Name 4 of the players.
Oh, that's piss easy.
I know.
Van Dijk,
Yep.
Right. Oh, come on, you can do it faster than this.
Wanyama,
Yep. Fucking hell, man. Okay now.
Be done by now. To be done.
Fraser Forster.
Yep.
How many of them is there?
I've got 5 here.
Oh, you're taking a piss, surely.
Is there one obvious one?
Aye! Well, I don't know actually the second one, I've started thinking about that.
There's, keep in mind it says like move between Celtic and
So
Southampton.
aye, I've got the 5 then.
There's one. There's a dodgy one that I might go for because I
There's
remember.
one that is screaming in
There's-
your
mate,
fucking brain right now.
We've spoke about one no long ago. There was one that was involved in an answer on this quiz.
Really? Oh my god. Who have I said? Right,
Mate,
Wanyama.
This shouldn't be allowed.
No,
This is
no,
far too fucking long.
Wanyama, Van Dijk. I'm gonna go for Højveld. Josh Højveld.
See, that would.
That would qualify.
work,
He
but-
did go to Southampton, didn't he?
Aye. The other obvious ones was
Armstrong, you twat.
El Yunusi as well. Moved between, so it didn't need to be for Celtic to Southampton.
Was Højveld in that though? Josh Højveld?
No, he didn't
I'm
do
sure
it, but
that.
that does. I'm sure.
I think he was expecting. I think Matt. Which got? He
I was-
was expecting the obvious answers to get said.
Let's see. Just to do.
I did go for
He
that.
did go to aye. So
I
that's
remember
fine.
him going,
Yep,
but
yep.
because the obvious ones he gave was Van Dijk, Armstrong, Wanyama, Foster, and El Yunusi. Right, so Ryan, your chance to take your quiz and take us to a tiebreaker. Hope this does go to a tiebreaker. Celtic have scored a combined 7 goals in their last 2 games. Sorry. What were the last 2 games Celtic got 7 or more combined goals in back to back?
What sort of questions that? So
So you need to go back through the fixtures and figure out what pair of games we got 7 combined goals in 2 games.
what was the last 2 games then? The last 2 games was.
Go through the scores in your head.
I'm trying to think what the last game 4-2 against Dundee,
Right.
I've got this.
and then was it the European game before that?
Who did we play?
Ferencvaros. Was it that before Dundee? Actually, that would have been 7 goals.
Wait.
No, but it would be 4 because we scored 3 against Ferencvaros, beat them 3-2. Right, so
Why the fuck is it? This can't put Celtic versus Jablonec, but I think he's confused here. I think he meant to put Ferencvaros.
aye,
Aye,
must
so
have.
yeah,
Aye,
so
okay. So
here we
that was
are.
so before that.
No, like you.
Oh, was that it? Was that the 2 games? Oh, was that the answer? Right. Oh, there you go.
Was it not
wait,
Ferencvaros then Hearts?
Wait, I fucked
Not
this one
Ferencvaros,
next time.
Jablonec then
Who the
Hearts.
fuck did-
Did we
what
not
was
play?
this
We fucked the quiz.
Me, what?
Did we not play Jablonec and we beat them 4-2 away from home? And then did we not play Hearts in the League Cup at home and we beat them 3-2?
Because we beat Dundee 6-0, did we know, at Celtic Park?
Aye.
What the fuck's this about Celtic versus Dundee and Celtic versus Jablonec is the answer, but
So
Celtic have scored a combined 7 goals in the last 2 games. What were the last 2 games Celtic got 7 or more? Oh, 7 or more. But that doesn't make sense because we got 7 or more. I don't care.
so you fucked it.
That's what I'm saying. Some of these questions, try to read them, I was like, what the fuck, man?
So I never really got a chance to answer that there. So
But I was just so confused by the fucking wording of that. I've got a tiebreaker if you want, I just have that.
you calling it a draw, mate? Tiebreaker.
I just got a draw.
Do I just throw us tiebreaker in for the end?
There we go. It's a
We'll
draw.
call,
Whoever-
we'll call it a draw, but we'll do the
whoever
tiebreaker.
get- Matthew, thanks very much for the quiz as always. Sorry, Kieran can't read.
My reading days are beyond me.
It's the
You
best
guys
quiz,
are old, man.
best quiz we've had yet.
I say that.
You
You're the
always-
oldest.
You're the
he says
oldest.
that to me. He says that to me all the time. That I'm
You
not-
have the you are mentally like 60.
And
Nah, he's been told that his whole life.
Sorry,
So you want to hear the tiebreaker?
Aye.
aye, go for it. Whoever
Bet-
gets it wins.
Bertie Auld only achieved
said
3 Scotland caps, but how many appearances did he make for his beloved Glasgow Celtic? This would be a good tiebreaker, man.
I'll let you go first, begin. Since you're first.
260.
260.
What are you
I
saying?
don't think it was high as that. I don't think it was as high as that. I think it's in the hundreds.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Stop making a fucking mess. I'm going to go for 100 and 160.
176.
Told you it was.
Is that all competitions?
Told you. Yep, because Thank you. Thank you. No, I got the tiebreaker, mate. I'm
No,
your
you
winner.
said it was a draw.
Thank you.
Let's call it a draw.
Thank you.
It's just a draw.
No,
was just for
because
fun.
I remember because
Illiteracy
obviously
is the winner.
he played for Celtic. Only I think he played for Celtic something like 20 times, and then moved to Birmingham. Ended up at another couple of teams, I think maybe, and then went back to Celtic, and then that's when he played like I think maybe 130 games or something between 65 and 70 something. I think if I'm correct.
He played 74 games for Celtic in his first
74,
season, and then 102.
Yep.
Doesn't seem like that much.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that much, but
That was your point at the end, so it's 2 each then. So because you got that one right, so it's 2 each then. It's just a draw.
right, okay, mate, cool.
Good time had by all.
And that's it. We get to the end of our hour 30-minute long show. Thank you very much, lads.
If
If you're still
90
here,
minutes.
what should the message be if you're still here? What should you write in the comments?
Bertie.
Better.
I was going to say melons and a wizard cloak, but I feel Bertie is more.
Whatever
Bertie.
one you want, really.
You can either go for Bertie or Wizards and a Merlin cloak.
I'll wait a bit.
Oh, sorry, Merlins and a wizard cloak is what I meant, yes. But aye, thank you very much for listening, everybody. Let's hope for the best on Saturday. And as I said, I'll try and keep you updated through the Twitter account as to when the next podcast will be with us being in Deutschland. So, yeah. Ryan McKinley, thanks very much.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.
And Kieran, thanks very much as well.
Thank you for having us.
And aye, like and subscribe. See you all next time.